And good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filighera. I am with logicalsignals.com and tradershelpingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 for Monday, August 2nd, 2021. The market remained in its box, and I got to take a step back because the market was basically not very eventful today. So I took a step back and I really tried to look at all of what has happened previously. So I pulled open the chart. I am still happy with this being the completion point for intermediate wave 3, and that we had considered the intermediate wave 4 complete here. But what I have now stood back and taken a look at is that we continue to try to count if intermediate wave 4 is complete here, that we're now in intermediate wave 5, and we have 1 and we 2, and this would have been 3, and now we're in 4, a minor 4. But the minor 4 is like taking way up too much time, and actually is much bigger than what I thought a minor 4 should be. This could have been a minor 4, which would have put us in that minor 5, but then this didn't work. So again, having to work and butt heads with the count that I was attempting to put into place, again, made me take a step back. And I did that. And now what I'm taking a look at and presenting tonight is not gospel, does not suggest or mean that this is now going to be the preferred count. I'm presenting a scenario, and I'm including how I got to the scenario and what the implications of the scenario are. And then we're going to run it side by side. And that gives us a lot more room in terms of which one will be in play and what still lies ahead. So if indeed we're still within this intermediate fourth wave, which I am basically now still expecting it, like this little fourth wave, excuse me, to be complex. The A wave was an ABC, pretty much a straight ABC. That is zigzag. The B wave was complex because it went to a new high at 44.22.25 yesterday. So from that level, wave C would be in force to complete the intermediate fourth. Now remember, in fourth waves, a little bit higher degree, intermediate, primary, up in there, we begin to look for those more complex ones because A, they tend to go sideways rather than zigzag, which drives it deep. It's a quick, deep drop. Very similar to this, but on a higher degree. But on an intermediate, they tend to come in shallow. They don't really drop all that much, and they extend more time-wise than they do price-wise. That's what I think we're seeing right now. But now we're into the C wave, which will do that a little bit extra price depression that needs to happen in order to finish the wave, because we're not getting anywhere in terms of this thing should be blasting higher. Now, if it isn't, and we are still within the intermediate fourth wave correction, we're in wave C. C waves are always 5 waves. That would be wave 1. I can count it as 5. This ended up being a 3. There's today's high. So it ended up being 3. And now it's come all the way back down. So it's leaving it as a 3. So 1 of C, 2 of C, we're in 3 of C. So first, let's look at projection for the entire C wave. Well, more often than not, wave C should take out the low of wave A. And because this was an irregular B wave above the top of wave 3, the Fibonacci calculation jumps. And what it jumps to is that C would be equal to 1.618 of wave A. Now that would be wave C of an irregular B wave and ABC. So in other words, the whole structure is an ABC. The B wave was irregular. Why? Because it went up and created a new high. above the previous high of wave 3. Fourth wave correction, if it's correcting it, corrects it down in this case. But the B wave, which is counter trend, for the move it's making, it's counter trend that went up instead of down. It went up and made a new high. Irregular. Then you get a C wave crushing. So this continued head fake of like, oh, we did want to make a new all-time high. Let's continue going up. And that is ultimately what we expect to happen in a fifth wave, an intermediate fifth wave. But if we still need to complete 4, we're going to be starting from a much lower level. Doesn't mean it won't be intense. Doesn't mean we won't get some upside that'll be butt kicking, because that's exactly what I think will happen. Here we had it, and that was what happened after. It went from there to an all-time new high. Dropped again, funneled around, went to an all-time new high. So that we thought, that's the start of this fifth wave that we want. This is going to be 3? No, it just did not fit. So here is where I think it could come down, 41.59. And then blast off and get above 4,500, 4,600 as an intermediate fifth wave unfolds. So that's what I'm presenting today. How are we going to get confirmation of this? Well, in all honesty, even if I left this as that C, I could, if we took it back to the other where we had, these were minors, right? So this was not being labeled wave A. This was labeled as all. This was minor A, minor B, and this was minor C. And this was labeled as intermediate wave 4. So under that count, we had minor 1, minor 2, or minor 1 and minor 2 here. And we had minor 3 up in here. And this was all working out to be a minor 4 correction. And this was the A of minor 4, the B, still a regular of minor 4, and we're looking at a C wave. That C wave can still be the ticket. And if that's the case, we're still looking for it to come down and break below at least 43.6475. But that has support at 68. It has support at 58. It has support down at 43.32. So, and it could stop there and turn. And it would cover us. And I'd have to, that would still work. But just the size of it, on the degree that I'm trying to count it as a minor 4, that's where I'm starting to have a problem. Because this minor 1, minor 2, minor 3, it turned time-wise, and this correction is like just stretching out. Tomorrow will be a week. This was last Monday. So this was Tuesday. So a little bit more than a week. Today was a week, and it's still stretching out. So it seems a little bit more than I want. In any case, both are still going to be run side by side. But now the implications, what we're going to know is if we start to really take a nosedive tomorrow, if we really start to come down, because remember, I thought that this was the completion point. I thought, okay, fine. We had a fourth wave failure, minor wave 4 is over. We're into the rally coming back up. It ended up being a 3-wave, can't be. So now we've got to go down and we should go below there. So bottom line is that we still need to go below 70 and then 64 or 68. 64, excuse me. And that brings us down into those levels that still could be in play. And then we will go back to the other. But what we would expect for when we hit that low, if that's the end of minor 4, this market blast. It goes up, similar to what we did see, but more similar to that. Okay, that launch lets you know that this decline was done, complete, over. And they did not look back. A couple of little blips right there, but it didn't even take back very much. And then it just did it again. And then it did it again, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what needs to happen. If we're going to put a minor, an intermediate 4 there and a minor 4 over here, minor 5's got to blast. A minor 5's got to blast towards 4,500 pretty quickly. So again, we get into it and we start breaking above 44.22 now. So those are where it's like, okay, so if we were to get down here and get down there and get into this zone, I'd be looking, first I would look for it to blast out of it. But if this is 1 and this is 2 and we drop in a third, it's going to go, it should go through these levels pretty quickly as it gets down to here, right? Relating wave 3 to wave 1. I've been looking for at least to overdo it, to really break below all of this, to make 3 the longest and the strongest wave. And if I'm looking for it to come below that, it really can just drop pretty easily. It started on the close today. A lot will depend. They're up a little bit, but not much. So they're not coming in. And again, I'm going to leave that open. This is where I'm going to leave it. But tomorrow, we know what's going to happen. If the market continues to go lower, I'm looking for these levels to come into play. It would be a wave 3. If it's within the other count, then it's still, I believe, is going to come below 43.64. And that would be to complete this dang C wave. But again, the C wave is still a 5, and thus far, 1, 2, 3. So wherever it comes down here, you get a little 4, and then you still get another 5. All right. So no matter what, I'm believing that tomorrow should also be a down day. If they start ripping it up through all of this again, then we're still in this box. And we got this at the top side. And again, the market has not made its decision yet. It's needing more information before it can decide, okay, we're getting out here, or we're buying here, and we're off to the races. It hasn't decided, and that's who we have to wait on. I'm telling you, if I made the decisions, we'd all be sitting from a gold throne and not have to worry about doing this at all. Any case, that's it for today. Next update will be Tuesday, August 3rd.